with over 28 years of experience, someone whose career truly exemplifies leadership and innovation in FMCG. Ms Shilpa Mhatre.
Indians like breakfast, which is hot and which is savory.
But such a big innovation, ma'am, and came from just observing what the market was missing and the basics of people. I think that proves that the basics still remain the same.
So if you have to buy sweet, you will technically go in a shop, but the savory nashtas, you will get it all on the street, and that is where our masses is.
What do you think is the most powerful way to truly connect with consumers on an emotional level?
So innovations are usually created to solve for pain points. Now, if you see from a product launches point of view, there are some launches which are called as innovations.
So, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. This is Tanayol, and this is the space where we don't just talk about titles, but we dive into journeys. And today, I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce someone whose career truly exemplifies leadership and innovation in FMCG, Ms Shilpa Mhatre. With over 28 years of experience, Ms Shilpa has consistently led the charge in transforming consumer insights into market opportunities. She's not just shaped product innovation, but has created an ecosystem where design thinking truly thrives, driving massive successes both in India and globally. What's even more remarkable about ma'am is her ability to balance technical expertise with creativity. She's an evangelist of integrating insights into business strategy, and today we get the chance to explore her inspiring journey. So let's get started and get to know the mind behind some of the most influential innovations in FMCG. Ma'am, let's just start with something simple. We'd love for you to share your career journey with us, like how you got started, what led you to where you are today, some of those key moments, ma'am.
Yeah, so first and foremost, Tanay, thank you for this extremely comprehensive and introduction of mine. Feels really nice to hear that. So 28 years you have captured in a very great manner. So thank you for that, because that sets the context to talk about careers. And I think careers are some things which are very dear to each one of us. So we all have stories around it, and when we look back at those, they become our own inspirations. So I think you have set the tone for that. On that note, I would also like to then talk about my career. Now, when I'm sitting and actually looking back at what my career journey has been up to now, it almost looks like the Mumbai Pune West, the expressway. So when you're driving, you feel you're going straight, but actually when you zoom out, you realize that that entire journey has a lot of U-bends, inclines, declines, long dark tunnels. There are speeding cars around you. So I think net still the journey becomes a lot more enjoyable, and I almost see my career going in that manner up to now, and I still want to continue that it continues to go in that path going ahead. So to start my career journey, I think somewhere in my childhood, because my father was also in a corporate leadership, my inspiration and my aspiration to reach to the topmost place in whichever industry or whichever organization, that has always been something which perhaps was seeded in my soul and heart. So to start, in my campus interview itself, I in my MPharm journey and my MPharm campus interview, while the rest of the students took careers in pharma industry, I chose a cosmetic industry, and I joined Lakme as a MPharm graduate from in the campus interview. So that is where I think always starting with something a little different, but pursuing it to see that it wins has been something that has really worked for me. So then I joined in formulation development, but alongside I also started doing sensory evaluation, sensory assessment, and insights as a part of my role. So it was not core a technical role, but also started integrating the non-technical aspects to it. And as time went ahead in my career, I started getting into subjects of psychology, neuroscience, design thinking. a lot of cost management, project management areas of work, and I think all of these kind of started complementing the role and the profiles that I started growing into. Flavors, perfume development, those were also a little, a lot of creativity induced subjects that started coming along my way. So I think once you open up the avenues, the things just start keep falling, and I think that has been a good part of my career journey. The last stint and my longest stint in my career has been with Marico, where I was hired to set up this department called as Consumer Technical Insights, and I had to start from scratch to establish that capability. While it sounds rosy, this entire career path, it has been with its share of challenges, a lot of disappointments. But again, coming back to ensure that whatever has been the goal, it has to be done. I have had great support of senior leaders in my this journey, lot of learnings, and going ahead from here, I still aspire to continue this journey and do all the big impacts.
Yeah, and very interesting to hear, ma'am, and very rightly said that all of this is also a very, very creative process. To come up with
Yes.
new brands, to come up with new ideas about the brands is a would be such a creative and fulfilling process to add
Yeah.
something new. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, you've been the driving force behind many game-changing innovations, including the creation of the Saffola Masala Oats category. That's quite a success, especially in a competitive market. Could you walk us through the strategic decisions and thought processes behind this project? Like, what made you think that this can stand out?
Tanay, that's a very interesting question, and I think this is one of the stories that in Marico, every Mariconian holds it very close to their hearts. Because this was one innovation which created a category in the foods industry in India, and now it has travels across the boundaries outside India as well. So this was back in 2009, 2010, where oats as a grain was had come to India, and brands like Quaker and Baggeries were marketing it in the form of plain oats. Right, so oats is a Western concept to say it is cooked in milk, and then you do garnishing with fruits and nuts and stuff like that. So Saffola was a brand which Marico had from a health credentials, and it had extremely good equity from a health construct. It was known for a heart health benefit. So the focus of the organization was to take oats and make it big and unlock the potential and leverage the full capability of Saffola from an equity perspective. Now, this is a very big decision from an organization point of view, because see, the grain is not native to India, right? And two, that oats was not a part of, it's not a part of our kitchen and palate. So the way today millets is getting traction, it was not the same for oats. So from an organization point, this was an extremely big decision, but I think the entire team was determined to ensure that we unlock this potential. So marketing was also looking at this, and from a technical insight point of view, we were also looking at what could be the best thing that could be made to oats so that it becomes lot more palatable and lot more tasty. Because as Indians, while we talk about health, we are non-negotiable as far as health is concerned. All right, so these are very deep design thinking based observations that really found a foundation for this innovation. So two three things that Indians like: breakfast, which is hot and which is savory. So pan India, if you see, that is what constitutes our breakfast. So, and no consumer in a focus group says this. So these are the interpretations that happens when you think in a design thinking manner. That's A. And second thing is simple observations, like, see, even if you do our street foods, where our masses have, they eat the breakfast and lunch, the entire street food, if you see from a foods construct, serves savory. So if you have to buy sweet, you will technically go in a shop, but the savory nashtas, you will get it all on the street, and that is where our masses is. So where the masses is where the potential for unlock is. So I think that formed the basic thinking behind this innovation, and then lot of work in terms of constructing the flavor architecture. And one very important thing, and I feel it's very important for all of us to kind of reiterate, is this entire value. So value for consumer becomes the core for any offering that a marketeer does. And in the Indian construct, see, we are very value conscious consumer. So it's not about just launching, but you almost try to see that not only in terms of taste, but what is the cost of my that one meal that I do, right? And that time I'm comparing it with one equivalent of one bowl of poha or one bowl of idli sambar and stuff like that. So you're not competing with just one oats. And the value and the cost pricing strategy was done in a manner to see what is the that one bowl of cooked masala oats gives in terms of satiety, in terms of taste. So all that comes together when you do the pricing. So that was the second important point from a innovation strategy point of view. And the third, last but not the least, is your retail shelf. Yeah, so where you really position it. Now, technically, oats people have thought it as a breakfast. So, do you keep it next to a cereal, or do you keep it next to a snacking, next to a Maggie, or next to something that you probably look at it from a snacks perspective? I think a lot of deliberation around these things in the organization from an insights perspective, putting that voice of consumers and enabling those decisions for the senior leadership was where the entire innovation journey took us. And you see the success it is formed the core of the business in Marico. And it has been a wonderful experience being a part of that innovation journey.
Yeah. But such a big innovation, ma'am, and came from just observing what the market was missing and the basics of people. I think that proves that the basics still remain the same. Ma'am, as someone who has spearheaded design thinking at Marico, I'd love to hear more about how this approach has influenced your work. Like, could you share an example of a product or project where design thinking directly impacted its success?
So Tanay, again a very good question, because I'm a passionate about design thinking. Because to me, design thinking is not just a tool; it lies in the thinking, and it's not just only in your profession, but in your personal lives as well. And to me, sometimes it's a little off track thought, but I think the mothers are the best design thinkers, because the fundamental of design thinking lies on empathy, right? So rarely would you see a mother's recipe at home going wrong for the family. So the deep understanding of the consumer or the user of your offering has to come so much more intuitively. So I think that is where the design thinking passion comes from. Well, I joined Marico, like I said, to set up this function called as consumer technical insight, and the role was basically how do you actually build consumer voice in a product innovation. Yeah, so this role is embedded into the R&D. So innovations are usually created to solve for pain points. Now, if you see from a product launches point of view, there are some launches which are called as innovations. They form the core for the organization. And then there are some launches which are based on trends. Because there's a trend, there is a launch. So that is more like a wave, because that's how trends move. But there are these core innovations which fuel the the future pipeline for the organization, and therefore they have to be done in a much more in-depth manner, because they have to sustain longer in the market and kind of generate revenues for your future. So that is how innovation forms core, and the design thinking principles enable this kind of high impact big bets innovations in the market. Yeah, so that is where the design thinking impact comes from. Just to cite an example, and I think I talked about masala oats, extending from there. If I don't know whether you know about Saffola Masala Oats, we had launched oodles. So oodles were the oats based product in ring structures, right? Now we went with the idea that we would make something for kids which would be healthy. Okay, now the work began in 2015 or something. At that point in time, if you recollect, baked baked was a concept which came in the technology to healthify snacks, right? But in the end, we were seeing everywhere baked. So instead of fried, it was baked. So biscuits and snacks and chips and those kind of things. And I mean, the natural line of thinking, development work was happening around ensuring that we make some kind of a format which was baked. But in doing that, somewhere we were not kind of getting a crack on the taste part of it, right? So when you remove the the heart out of a dish, it will stay in a compromised stage. And we were doing a lot of insighting, and we kept going back and back to again ensure that have we got it all right? Have we got it all right? Have we got it all correct? Because many times what people say and what actually they mean is way too different. And at one point we actually realized that while we are saying that fried is bad or oil is bad, that seemed to be a little adult conversation. So in the context of adults, fried and oil is a no-no. But in the context of children, when the mothers were talking, they were not too worried so much about that the other noodles or the stuff available outside was fried. The concern came more of because it was made with maida. Because in her construct, the oil and the fat is burnt out. So she was concerned about fried and oil for her, but not for the child. And I think that paradigm shift to then say, ki, okay, we will stay with the fried option, but we will change the base of the formulation, right, and make it no maida. That was where we got hit as far as the innovation breakthrough came through. And I think from there is where the entire no maida conversation started in the industry,
Yeah.
and it has really worked well. So I think this understanding of nuances and giving these technical insights to the R&D, that becomes extremely crucial to land at cost viable and consumer desirable innovations.
Yeah, very well said, ma'am. Ma'am, throughout your career, you emphasize the importance of consumer insights, from sensory assessments to packaging design. For many of us in the industry, understanding the consumer is critical. What do you think is the most powerful way to truly connect with consumers on an emotional level through product development?
This question to me is something that I keep churning in my head all the time, specifically when today this entire we are living in the world of AI. So we are almost one mind of ours says that it is great, the other mind says is it really great, what is going to happen. So I think, at least for me, we are living in that two dilemma. There's
Yeah.
excitement, there is fear, and those kind of things are happening. But looking at the positive side of it, and it is imperative, and there is no going back from that AI is going to be driving every realm of business, and it's here to stay. So that's the excitement. Having said that, to truly, and we are seeing adoption of AI in a lot of insights work as well, and it should happen in that manner. Having said that, to truly connect, and because you use the word powerful, yeah, so my answers are trying to see that whether I can answer the address to that word powerful in a powerful manner. Okay, so to truly connect and understand consumers at an emotional level, and from a business point of view, it is extremely important to listen with empathy, right? So so the tool could be AI, or the tool could be ethnography, or the tool could be talking to people directly face to face. But listening with deep empathy, listening with a lot of sensitization, and listening with a lot of no defense, being very humble, I think that's one very powerful route of understanding consumers well. The second to me, and if you remember, do you there's an iceberg theory that is called, Hemingway had developed that theory of iceberg theory, where only 10% is something of the iceberg that you see on the top. The remaining is on the bottom. It's also called as the theory of omission, right? So not everything that you see, while it seems to be big, it could just be the tip of the iceberg. So, in a very senior leadership role, and as heads of organization and heads of businesses, accountable for the stock market and shares, to acknowledge, and decode these unsets. Yeah, those are the approaches. That's the second approach to me, which I feel is extremely powerful, and it is something that is here to stay. uh, to share examples, and I think we'll just extend it, because we had flavor extensions come, like pav bhaji and sambar. So we just went on a full right. Okay, one flavor, second flavor. We were very happy with the way consumer and market was accepting our flavors. So we went ahead and launched pav bhaji and sambar flavor, to realize that it was not getting picked in the market, while our FGDs and everything and panels gave all tick-offs. Now, here the nuance lies, because while pav bhaji seems to be okay to listen from a flavor superimposing point of view, when I'm having a pav bhaji experience, the texture of the bread or the pav, along with that bhaji or the sabji, yeah, that is what you're experiencing, and that cannot come because there's a flavor is on oats. Same way for sambar is incomplete without the idli. So it is the dish that is what you're enjoying, or pav bhaji is the entire dish that you're enjoying. And I think these kind of acknowledging and then decoding this are extremely important aspects from a approach point of view. The other non-marico examples are examples in this category, like dry shampoo. It has still not become mass, right? Because as a culture and as consumers, we believe that when it's a shampoo, it is water. It has lot of ritual. It has lot of religious context to it. So for us, dry shampoo is still not the main mass and accepted in the mainstream. Or say a shampoo hair color, the concerns on the damage, the safety. Another thing, I'm talking these examples because examples tell you best when it comes from a approach point of view. So the law and these observations. Now we know stories of these brands like the Itchguard, Crack. Of course, they are way brands which are from the past, but the founders have sat in markets and seen what is happening, and that's how those brands have come and did a huge dent in the market. So building these attributes in products is very critical. So we call this as a sensory intelligence, uh, right? Because there are these sensory attributes, this sensory cues, which trigger the moments for the consumers, right? And they becoming, so they are actually the secret sauce of your product design. And last but not the least, acknowledging the habits, the behaviors, the cultural nuances of everything. And while we're talking today about Gen Z, who are our the consumers of today, I'm sure within that they have now almost got their cultural codes and their social norms of acceptance. We need to deep dive to understand them better, rather than force fitting them into the world that we were in. So
Even though
these
that's
two,
the hardest thing to do, but that's still the way ahead to understand what they are into. And that is tough for any generation, right? To see the new generation, what they're into, what mind they have.
I think once you step into the shoes,
Yeah,
it is still resolvable. I mean, they just look different, but I don't think it is something which is not solvable at all.
100%, 100%. Okay, ma'am, now let's go for some light and fun round. This is a round where it's called the rapid fire round, and I'm sure you're aware of what it's like, but this is our very own version. And all we request you is to give one word or one sentence answers, but really quick. What's one book or podcast you're currently reading or listening to?
think the book today that I'm listening to is a book which the world is reading. That is CEO's Mindset by Shiv Kumar. So I think
Yeah.
I'm reading that one. That's my one which is going on currently.
If you had an extra hour every day, how would you spend it?
I'm a Einstein follower. So he has always said that 1 hour, 55 minutes, think of the problem, 5 minutes, think of the solution. So in my 1 hour, I will do a 80-20, 80 minutes I will do my walking, and 20 minutes probably I will write down what I thought about.
Lovely. What's the best piece of professional advice you've ever received?
So can I share two?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so one is straight from Mr. Harsh Mariwala. We have been fortunate to be under his leadership. So he has always told us fail fast, learn fast. So that's one of my best. And the other one is from another leader who said, do a mistake, but do a mistake which is of your stature.
Yeah,
I think I live by that.
lovely. What's one habit you've picked up that's helped you succeed in your career?
So, cohesive collaboration.
Yeah, lovely. What's your favorite way, ma'am, to unwind after a long week?
Friends.
Lovely.
Chai,
Ma'am,
travel,
yeah,
friends.
yeah. Name one thing on your bucket list that you haven't crossed out yet.
Can I be candid?
Of course.
Yeah. So one is that I want to be a part of the board
Okay.
and make an impact there. That's
Yeah.
on my professional one, and my personal one is I have to yet do my bungee jumping. So
Oh,
I'm gathering courage for that.
great, great. This year, let's hope for this year. Fingers
Okay.
crossed. Okay, great, ma'am. I think that was a lovely rapid fire round, and thank you so much for being so candid with us.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Naren.
Ma'am, in 2024, we saw a major counterfeit racket in Hyderabad where fake versions of parachute coconut oil and other household staples flooded Kirana stores, posing serious safety risks and threatening brand trust. As someone deeply involved in consumer insights and product innovation at Marico, how do you factor such risks into your work? Like, and more broadly, how can brands safeguard authenticity in a world where imitation is, just a market away?
So Tanay, counterfeit, Marico has been always been encountering counterfeit as far as the coconut oil is concerned. And it is something which is an ongoing endeavor to counter it, and it is involves a lot of cost as well. Yeah, so that is a menace as far as the issue is concerned. While and To answer to your question, counterfeit was is largely anchored by the quality department in the organization, and I've played an enabler role in collaborating with the leaders on that. So in terms of so whenever there have been elements done in the packaging design to ensure that the counterfeit is addressed, I've been involved in terms of how consumers react to those design change elements, and how can and suggesting ways and means to ensure that while you do a anti counterfeit element, what is it that you need to ensure that consumer at the same time doesn't feel distance out from that of it, because the signature codes are in the head, and very intuitively you are picking up from the shelf or ordering something. So while you are trying to address a counterfeit, yet you might feel that that change option, the real option might be a counterfeit. So how to balance out that part is a very crucial area, and that is where the insights team comes and works with the design team, the packaging team. So that's one example. The other example is we had one of the brand which was in the hair fall category, and there again we saw a lot of counterfeit. So doing packaging design work with respect to having a hologram design, and of late the QR scanner has become a complete game changer as far as the counterfeit work is done, and I think it's a breakthrough which has helped our organization really well. So that was on the counterfeit part. The other area, while it's not really like a counterfeit, but it is a change with respect to an element in the product. So if you see the entire perfume work. Perfume is an integral part of any FMCG beauty personal care product, right? So, and because of the regulatory changes, there are a lot of changes that happen to a perfume simply because you have to keep complying, complying, because the ban list keeps on increasing. Now, in such a situation, your perfume tends to deviate from the original a little, right? So trying to get that balance and working with teams across the organization to ensure that how does the consumer doesn't distance itself, you stay in a regulatory compliance and yet ensure the business continuity. I think that aspect of regulatory compliance has been very critical, as dimension in the role.
Yeah, very well said.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you recently joined Directors Institute, and given your impressive experience, I'm curious what prompted you to go back to learning, and how has the Institute influenced your leadership approach, especially in the evolving trends of governance and strategy?
Learning is a parallel track as your career progresses. So I think that's how I look at it. So when you arrive at every new milestone, you want to go ahead. What I go by that line, but what got you here is not going to get you ahead, right? So I go with that line, and that makes you think that if you have to go ahead, what you're carrying up to now is not going to be enough. So there is no question about that you have to learn. So that's a starting point. That was one. And going ahead with the changes that are happening globally in terms of everything, geopolitical situations and economies and wars of different nature, the governance is going to be becoming very difficult. And all of us leaders who have traveled a significant amount of journey cannot be just holding on to those subject expertise and that domain. So each one of us have to actually hone the hat of a CEO. That means while you could be a domain expert, you still need to know of those things which are globally influencing businesses. So I think when I looked at that, I felt that there is a gap, and I should be addressing that gap. Besides, there is a huge curiosity at this stage to understand of those new things. So both of it combined was where the trigger came to go. I would say not go back to learning, but circling back into learning. So that is the way I look. To answer to your second question, with respect to the Directors Institute, so when it comes to value added deep learning, I feel it has to come from the best, right? And that is how Directors Institute became my place to go as far as getting myself ready for my next journey. So the first thing which really appealed to me, and I'm an insights profession, right, is just by looking at the way the content or the I would say syllabus of the entire program was organized in terms of covering the corporate governance, ESG, the digital analytics, business imperatives, and giving the confidence. Senior leaders in Directors Institutes spoke to me and almost ensured that that how this kind of learning would give me a lot of confidence in terms of looking at journal. I think I was really kind of impressed with that, and that further fueled that initial trigger that I had, and that I want to definitely take this ahead. So I think that has been fabulous, because see, and this learning is a very different type of learning, and therefore the role of the institute becomes a lot more important, and they're doing a fab job on that. Because when now you look at imagine or visualize a place where you want to be, and if you know of a dartboard, seen a dartboard game. So those dartboard game has the inner bullseye and the outer bullseye, and then there are this double ring, single ring. So, and you have just three darts. Now, given the scenarios today in the world, those bullseyes are also becoming smaller, right? Both the inner and the outer, and the number of players who are now coming to play for that uh, bullseye. They are becoming more. They are more, but the darts that you have are just still few, right? And if such is the scenario, there is no way out but to kind of ensure that your learning is foolproof and your foundations of all these new aspects of the governance, sustainability, ESG. There's no going back. You have to have a good handle on all of that, and I feel certain competencies, and this comes to me more from because I'm a fan of ISRO, and the space industry. Competencies like being very accurate and precise are the ask of for the next CEOs, and the people like us who are aspire for very senior leadership, because both of them together is where it's going to make a differentiation. And so directors institute, the kind of training module that they have kind of shared, is where I feel that it's going to make a difference, and I really look forward for that.
Thank you so much for those kind words, ma'am, and for joining us today. Your insights have been truly invaluable, not just about product innovation, but about leadership, governance, and the power of continuous learning. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tanay.
To everyone listening, if today's episode made you think about leadership, innovation, or even your own career path in any new way, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with somebody else also who needs to hear it.
It was wonderful chatting with you, and I really thank this platform for allowing me to share my views. Exciting times ahead, so look forward.
Pleasure is all ours, ma'am. Thank you so much.